Hi, everybody. Quite a few faces here, isn't there? Luminek. So it's already been said, but I'm Jess. I've been a software developer for around 2 years now, and I'm really into monitoring. So today I'm going to be talking about dashboarding, which is part of instrumentation. I also really love logging and alerting, so if you have any questions on those later, come and find me. I've got the purple hair, really easy to spot. So first of all, what is a dashboard and why the hell should we care anyway? So you've probably all seen this kind of scene in a film, some poor person surrounded by screens, and a key character jumps in and goes, "Where's the bad guy going to be at this time?" And this poor sod has to process a whole load of information and give an answer back really quickly. Now, seems unrealistic. Happens in everyday business quite a bit. I've certainly experienced it where people come over and go, "Why is this thing not working?" Or "How many customers are using this product?" And either have to dig through logs or Excel sheets, or go ask somebody else to dig through logs and Excel sheets, and they love that. So dashboards are a tool to help with this situation. It's a clear and easy way to see the information you need, and often information you need to react to. So then, if Tom Cruise in Minority Report had an appropriate dashboard, things might have been a bit easier for him, less of a headache. I really hope that most of you are old enough to know what Minority Report is. It wouldn't be the first time that I've been asked about that. So today, I'm going to be talking about 4 different types of dashboard, kind of from high-level business down to development. I'm going to be using an example from Rick and Morty. Anybody here a fan of Rick and Morty? Thank God. Sorry, in a church. Thank goodness. So for those of you who haven't watched it, there's a biscuit factory called Simple Rick's. It has some dark underpinnings, which personally I find hilarious. It's worth watching. But we're going to use a biscuit factory for the example today. So starting off, we've got business intelligence. Now, this is normally upper management, so anybody who's talking to investors, stakeholders, but also needs to have a good idea of the business's health. So is it doing better? Is it doing worse? Is it kind of stabilizing? Trying to come up with the strategic goals of, do we want to make more money in the next quarter? Do we want more customers? How are we going to do that? It's kind of coming up with a big strategic plan. So in this case, dashboards might cover temporal things. So in a biscuit factory, Halloween's coming up. Maybe we're going to sell some more biscuits. How are we doing compared to last year? But also, you can make models of your customers. So what's your customer behavior? Is that model still accurate? Have you got the right data to make decisions off of? There's a lot of statistics involved in this kind of area. So dashboards are very helpful. And closely related to this is management information. So this is the financial information of a company. You can normally tell who probably would use a dashboard like this by if they've got an Excel sheet in front of them. It's products, it's marketing, it's finance. It's actually a lot more than that, but we'll get to that later. So with management information, it's coming up with those smaller projects that help towards that big strategic goal. So an example of Simple Rick's Biscuit Factory, you might have somebody in product who thinks, "Hey, let's do a TV advert. That'd be great." So before you do a TV advert, you need to figure out who your customer is. What time are they watching TV? You want it to be effective. How much is it going to cost us? How much do we think it's going to make us? Kind of going towards that big strategic goal of we need to make money. But also, what's your baseline throughput? Can we improve upon that? Have we improved upon that? Or has it just kind of flopped? So again, dashboards, kind of good to see that information up front. And from what I'm saying here, you can probably tell that the business intelligent guys want to know what's happening with the marketing information. Marketing information want to know the effect of their work on the business intelligence. So it's good for kind of transparency. Next, I'm going to talk about development information and operational information in conjunction. There's a reason for this. It's because depending on the size of your business and the structure of it, these two get really muddled. There's no real strict definition between the two. But for the purpose of this, I'm going to go with operational information is how is your system working in production? Is it working in production? Development information more, is it working the way you expect? So part of the reason why I'm talking about these two in conjunction is they use the same information, but with a very different focus. Some instances are, first of all, is it working? What's up? What's down? You can also use dashboards for guiding improvement. So where is it slower? Where is it getting a bit clunky? How can we make it better? Have we made it better? Also for debugging issues, if something's going a bit funky and somebody's run over to your desk again with that question, can I diagnose this quickly? And again, so for development and operational information, your database might be slow. Operational-wise, you might be going, what's the CPU, and other words that, honestly, I don't really know a lot about, but I'm going to say them anyway. Development, how we index on that database. How many times is it being hit? Could be both. So there's a lot of overlap in these areas, and as such, they both kind of need each other's dashboards. Because when you're running software, you want to know that the stuff it's running on is working effectively, and vice versa. So again, example is Simple Ricks. TV advert's gone live. They want to know, A, is the website up? B, can we cope with the amount of customers coming in from all these fantastic new customers because TV advert might have been successful, etc. I'm going through this quite quickly. I do have a blog on this. Blogs are good, it turns out. So there's a bit more detail on there. So that was a very quick overview of 4 different types of dashboard. And as stated, business needs management, management needs business. Both of these need operational and development. I've referred to them here as execution because without like the factory or the software, you can have all the plans in the world, but there's nothing to run them on. They're kind of there's like a military kind of term here with them being the front line. They're making all the stuff work. And they want to know how their work's having an impact on the business. So it all kind of works in conjunction. And this is just to summarize what I've already gone through. So business, health of a business, management, financial health, and dev and ops is everything up. So who needs dashboards? Probably giving it away here. Everybody needs dashboards. And I mentioned earlier with management information, they could be used a lot more. I've seen it in companies, which is great, where you have people on the phones. Normally, you have standard scripted responses that you give your customers. How about instead you've got a dashboard for Simple Ricks, which says what type of biscuits in stock, how long the delivery time is to different points in the UK. You can give very accurate information very quickly. And not only does it make your job a bit more interesting, but customer experience goes through the roof as well. It's great. No idea how I'm doing on time, so I'm talking really quickly. But this quote's from an ITSM book that I got lent. It's really good. It kind of summarizes up the importance of dashboards for me. If you don't measure it, you can't manage it. If you don't measure it, you can't improve it. If you don't measure it, you probably don't care. And if you can't influence it, then don't measure it. Don't have information just because it's interesting. You're only going to make a busy dashboard. If you're making improvements, how can you tell if they're working if you don't have a baseline? And also, I think if you have dashboards that cover different departments, you're all working towards that same goal. It gives you purpose. You can see the effect of your work. It kind of brings together a bit of unity. You're working all towards the same thing. If you can't tell, I really love dashboards. But that's kind of it. I will take any questions here. Also, this is my Twitter handle. If you don't like putting your hand up, I'm very much the same. So just give me a message anytime, and that's fine too. And I think that's me.
Brilliant, thank you. Thanks very much. Thank you, Jess, awesome. Who has delivered a project that involved a dashboard? Okay, and who now thinks they've delivered a project that probably should have involved a dashboard? Yeah. I can see that this would solve some problems in some cases.
I've got a question.
Yeah.
Who has had dashboards and thought they were completely and utterly useless? Yeah, that's more often the answer.
Why? One of those people with a hand up, why were they useless? Yes, please.
So for the company I've just come from, we've separated dashboards in different ways. So we do have dashboards for performance, for example. But the way that we've done it is we have high-level journeys, and when we're doing I work in a Scrum environment. When we're doing epic refinement and story refinement, we get through what kind of failures the business will need to know about. Do they need to know about the monetary gains, like the key performance indicators mostly. So we'll make a dashboard for a kind of journey level, and then for each feature that we make or each product, we have a dashboard for that. Now, these all have a lifetime. So normally it's around 2 weeks after the product's gone out that we have them on a board because we need to react in that time. But then we kind of keep them hidden away for when something goes down. And the business has a huge involvement on what's on those. In the company I've just worked for as well, there's one dashboard that pretty much is always on the screen, which is the decision engine. I used to work for a loans company. So we wanted to know, A, if that's working fast enough, but also how heavy it's being hit so that we can adjust for that. And we trained the departments around us on what was wrong with it, because we found when it was just developers looking at it, something would flash red and we'd probably notice it, but if a spike went up, maybe not so much. So it really was useful having somebody from a different department going, it shouldn't look like that. And all the developers going, yeah, we'll fix that now. So I think it's really important to consider both what the purpose of your dashboard is, but also how long it should be living. Yeah, it's really hard to do right.
Yeah, it's a question of when to surface the right information that you need to see.
Yeah.
Yeah. I'm wondering if there's a connection between sort of the things you were talking about. How early in the process could this work?
Yeah, well, I think what was interesting for me is kind of going, it's similar to the audience question there, is how do you almost coach somebody to make use of the information that comes out of the dashboard? Because I think it's the sort of thing that gets people quite excited early on as well. So there's the early research piece, but then it's the what are you actually going to do with that dashboard? So like almost like what's your kind of validation process of what are we building and why are we building it? And is it because this is a shiny new toy and somebody's excited about it? Or is it because there's useful information that could come out of this and you're going to really action it? Our data insights team, we're fortunate that we've got an amazing insights team and they've actually just started building out dashboards. Don't know what for yet, but they've started on that. But one of their kind of KPIs, when you submit a request to our data team, they ask you what it is that you're looking to actually learn and understand from that and what action you're going to take off the insight that you get from them. And if you can't come back to our data team once you've had a request fulfilled and tell them either what business value that you drove or what use the insight was of, next time you put in a request, you're going to get a bit of pushback on it, and they're affected. They're like going to score you down the queue. So it's brutal, but it's kind of sensible as well. And I just think with something like a dashboard, it's about what use are you actually going to get out of the information that comes out of it. Because if you know you make 100,000 biscuits a day, that's exciting. Yeah. Until it's not. What are you going to do with it?
Yeah, like one of my favorite dashboards I've seen at my work is a mixture between management and business information. They brought them together. So the business has decided what are major events that we need to know about. So you can see this target kind of line and then where we are actually at. We see third-party outages or if a marketing campaign's been released. So you can kind of see the business's effect on that line.
Yeah.
And they show that once a month, or you can just access it when you're interested. But Brilliant. It's really good to know.
Yeah, that is because I find, we started looking at data around usage of our navigation facets and filters on site. And our data guy kind of went, it's really funny, there's just, like, it just dies at the 6th of October. Like, what happened there? And I was like, that's when our new merchandising lister tool came into play. So unbeknownst to whoever installed it, they actually killed part of the data layer there. And so we weren't actually getting any information through at all. So if we had something that kind of showed, okay, here's performance, data, boom. On the day, somebody would have gone, what's just happened to all the data?
Yep.
So
exactly,
yeah.
Yep, it's got to be surfaced, otherwise you can't act on it. Brilliant. 2 extended and brilliant answers to the question there. Great.
Sorry.
We've got time for one more.
I really love this question because as part of working as a loan company, there's a certain team that wants all the data in the world and they, only use probably a third of it if we're lucky. For that, it's very much with what you were saying. With the
Yeah.
dashboard, if you're not acting on it or there's no reason to have it on that board, don't have it on there. It's mad to have it on there. These things should evolve with time. They shouldn't just be made and then stay that way. But also, there's other means of keeping data. If somebody says, oh, I need all the data in the world, go, fine, here's an Excel sheet. It's not something they need to react to or see or answer questions on. Just having it there is just too much noise, and it's unnecessary work. So let them have their own tools. I'm sure that I've probably been corrected by a data scientist somewhere, because they know how to use data appropriately. I'm a developer. There's a certain pieces of information I need, but I know what I need. So it's very much pushing back on why.
Great. Always ask why. Thank you very much. Another round of applause for Jess, please.